What is going on? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the one and only Rumboyz Fantasy Network. I'm RumboyzRobbie, that's TDS Taco, and together we are the Goal Line Goons.
I totally did that wrong, but whatever.
Stay in focus of your camera. You are not allowed to do this motion. You cannot do that. You have to be back here. You have to there we go. There we go. Stay in frame. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's show. Week 1 was probably one of the most gangster openings of the NFL of week 1s like ever. That shit was cinema.
That shit was toxic.
Hey,
I was watching week 1. This shit is toxic.
We are going to talk about it. Week 2 is going to be even more lit. If you thought that if you're sitting back like you got some more of them NFL games, guess what? We got some more of those NFL games, and we are going to talk about them. We are going to break them down. Sup, Gooners, says Leafs up in the chat. What's good? Bro, you said it was toxic before we even get into the show sheet. Like,
I think we gotta get a Goon Squad gift that we could jump in here from Brony. Goon Squad.
I'm dead. A little sound drop. I might have to fucking make that happen. You said it's toxic though. Why you say it's toxic, bro?
Bro, the shit that happened from like workloads to expectations, whether they were met or they're not. Some of the games we had drama that you couldn't even write in Desperate Housewives.
What was last week's theme though? Temper your expectations. That's also why it's important for those of you that are viewing at home. Tune in to the live stream each and every week. Like the snippet that I dropped the day of this show about like things that we're going to talk about, that's nothing compared to like what you're actually going to get viewing the live show. Speaking of the live show, let's go ahead and get into it. Getting offered ETN for Judy. Is that my biased thinking? That's good. If you're getting offered ETN for Judy, for Judy, I am so taking that, especially after the Tank Bigsby getting traded to the Philadelphia Eagles whole situation that went down. It is now ETN and Tootin, and obviously Liam Cohen trusts ETN, and we're going to talk a little bit about Jerry Jeudy and the Cleveland Browns when we get into the waiver wire portion. So I have some things and some gems that we're going to talk about when it comes to Jerry Jeudy. Can't be the Gooners. Hey, it's the Goonies. It's the Goonies. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you guys. I have a big dynasty trade question, fellas. This guy offered me Neighbors, AJ Brown, and a 25 third-round pick plus Matthew Golden for my London and JT. Do I accept? He has no running backs, needs one badly. So he offered you Neighbors, AJ Brown, and a 2025 third-round pick plus Matthew Golden.
Okay.
For Drake London and Jonathan Taylor?
I'll be honest with you. Neighbors, AJ Brown, and a 25 third-round pick. I'm debating it with Matthew Golden. Yeah, I'm accepting it without Golden. You add Golden in there and like, fuck yes.
Exactly. I didn't need listen.
Neighbors is the best one in this big deal, in my opinion, long term for Dynasty.
Yeah, it's a 2026 third. I understand. I understand.
Yeah, we know what you mean,
bro. Honestly, and your running backs are Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, RJ Harvey, and Monty. And see, and he's needing one bad. So obviously he's trying to get that JT, you know. So yes, for this you are going to have to give up something, but bringing back what you're getting,
Yeah,
and for what RJ Harvey's going to be.
So AJ Brown is like a huge wild card. Okay, I get that, but you get the upside of Golden to counteract whatever you're getting with AJ Brown, who's still a potential stud. London has been, I don't know, there's an injury issue with London. I feel like almost all the time where it's like he may or may not play. He does play most games, but I just would rather long term have that neighbors dart potential duo that's going to end up making its way to the Big Apple sooner than later than the injury prone London. So all around, I think it's a smash deal. Like I hate to lose JT, but between Golden, Neighbors, the future pick, and then the upside of AJ Brown, I think you're getting enough to easily pull a trigger and still be in it this year.
Smash that. Yeah. Smash that. Like you're getting Neighbors, who's going to finish as a top 10, top 15 wide receiver. You're getting AJ Brown, who's going to finish as a top 20 wide receiver. Your Matthew Golden is going to be able to now line up in your flex. You'll be able to play him week to week. You already said that you got Bucky, who's going to be explosive this season. RJ Harvey there, who he's going to be explosive this season as soon as Denver gets that running game going. And then Monty, like, you know, you're pretty fine at running back. And then there's some waiver wire options that we're going to talk about that you're going to be able to grab. Not football related, but the new iPhone 17 in orange. I got to get that. I'm dead. Hook 'em. Nobody took my trade offers. Tried to trade Tet, Olave, and ETN for Brown or ETN. Tried to trade Tet, Olave, and ETN for Brown or ETN, Olave for Flower. Or okay, I guess you're trying to. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're basically trying to get Zay Flowers. It's too early. It's too early. Third in waivers for Keenan or Goddard. Fingers crossed. Okay. My receivers would be Neighbors, JSN, AJ Brown, Golden, and Rashee Rice waiting on IR. Devontae Smith as well. And then you would be able to trade Devontae Smith away once you bring over AJ Brown, or you'd be able to trade AJ Brown. Either way, you because you don't want too much of one offense. I had to ask the pros before I accepted. Hell yeah. Let's get into tonight's show. Overreactions. There are a couple of things that drove the fantasy football community absolutely crazy. Yeah, exactly. Neighbors only being 22. Yeah, you got it. One of those things being quarterback play this week. And I'm not just talking about, typical week one quarterback play. We know typical week one quarterback play. If you've been playing fantasy football long enough, you know just typical week one stats in general across the board. No, with this overreaction, we are talking about names that just when you look at it and you look at the numbers that they put up this week, just really jump off the paper. Taco, should fantasy managers chase the hype on week one quarterbacks such as Daniel Jones, 10% roster currently, JJ McCarthy, he's outside of that 59%, but he might be available for some of you out there at 63%. And Justin Fields at 59% availability across fantasy leagues. Your thoughts, overreaction or not, on these three players? You can go to, yeah.
So, in my opinion, if you have Justin Fields still in your waiver wire, you are in a shallow league. It's not really competitive. Like, you're not facing anyone serious. There's no way in single QB redraft Justin Fields should have been on your waiver wire. His floor is top 10 regardless, because you know he's going to get 10 to 15 rush attempts a game. This guy will run every single game. That gives him a safe floor, with him then having the upside of, hey, maybe he might pass a lot. Maybe he has a really good running game. Maybe he has 2 touchdowns in this game. He is a dynamic weapon that can be used at the goal line for scoring, as well as on passing plays that break down, he can go off for big runs. He's dynamic in the running game. Every time over the last couple of years that he's played, he's been a QB1. Most recently with Pittsburgh, he was a QB1 when he played. This man should not be on your waiver. You are crashing out for Fields if somehow, by the grace of God, he is still on your waiver wire and you need a quarterback. That is unquestionable. Unquestionable.
So before we get into the other two, what I will say here about Justin Fields, I agree with a lot of everything that you did say. First off, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I disagree with everything you just said there, Taco. I'm not going to say that, oh, your league is not competitive. Because the math
quarterback coming in, he was a top 10 quarterback to me.
Can you stop?
Sorry.
Because obviously the math shows that 9 times out of he's likely out there. He's likely out there. There is damn near close to a 40-ish% chance that you can go out there and you could probably land Justin Fields. So I'm not going to say that doesn't make your league competitive or nothing like that. At the end of the fucking day, this is Justin Fields that we're talking about, who hasn't had some of the greatest fantasy outputs year to year. So there absolutely is reason why he would be on your waiver wire. There's absolutely reason why he fell in drafts, or he was maybe second QB, that you picked, for your team. He was only started in 24% of leagues this week in week 1, and was only rostered in 59% of those leagues. So I just want to make sure that I contextualize.
Yeah, and I will stand by my statement. A lot of those leagues are not either super low rostership, or they're like even as a backup quarterback in a 12-team league. There's no way you're not walking out of there with Justin Fields. I'm sorry. He is rushing upside is one of the top 7 guys, I would say, in the league as a quarterback. It's very hard for you to because of his floor. No, man, it's like crazy when you look at what he did in Pittsburgh. Even in Pittsburgh, he was starting to show his evolution.
He was only 24% started. Like nobody.
That's because he was facing Pittsburgh. That's expected to be the top defense in the league. If he wasn't facing Pittsburgh, that's probably
nobody was starting him in week 1. Did you start him in week 1?
Anywhere I had him, I would. I didn't.
Did you start him?
I didn't have him. I didn't have him anywhere.
Okay,
I wish I had Justin Fields.
But you're saying this as if you had already had what you're saying.
You're talking about getting him from the waiver wire. I'm not saying necessarily you're starting him, but there's no way he's on the waiver wire in a competitive league.
Justin Fields has
in a 10-team league. Yes, okay,
Justin Fields has finished QB 32, QB 18. Only once has he ever finished in the top 10, which is 2022, where he finished QB 7, and he finished QB 31.
Last season, he didn't play the full season. When he was playing like a QB1 with Pittsburgh. The year before that, he was QB 7. So when you look at the sample size of him actually playing in games, you can't say that because his gameplay during those games in Pittsburgh was QB1.
The year before that, he was QB 18.
That was when he lost his job. At Pittsburgh, we clearly saw his passing game was developed back. And his rushing upside is something that is – this is a rushing team with the Jets. He is going to get, I would say, between 35 and 60 yards per game on the ground. That's 3.5 to 6 points off the bat. You're talking from your quarterback. This is what you get out of Lamar Jackson. This is what you get out of some of these other guys. Now, you also bring in the fact that now he has his old wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. You're telling me that we shouldn't be a little bit like on the waiver wire, if he's there, that he's not a smash grab? Nah, bro. In my opinion, with the way that team is set up to run and looking at the way they used him on fourth down, I would not only would he be added on my team, but in most cases, I would be starting him. Like, you can't argue like guys like Dak or some of those later guys, like even Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, even Justin Herbert to an extent. Like, are you trusting Justin Herbert to consistently throw that much and then still probably not even score as much as Justin? I mean, as Fields, that's where I'm kind of at, where it's like, that's the level that he's at on a minimum, like on a minimum. His upside is the top 5.
Okay. Here's what I'll say. To just so yes.
I would keep both.
You should, if you have the space for both, don't go and drop like a stud player to go and acquire Justin Fields in a 10 team.
Yep.
But like if you have the ability to keep both, keep both. Herbert Herbert with his virginity loss is different now. Absolutely.
I think his acne cleared up and he's seen the light.
What I will say is, yes, during the offseason, we were like, yes, go and get Justin Fields, go get Justin Fields here on this YouTube channel. Mike has said it, Taco said it, I have said it. But I do also want to make sure that I defend the viewer.
Yeah. No.
And I'm not belittling the viewer.
No.
There's no way, especially with as much content is also out there. And then especially with mixed with your own personal opinions, you at home, there's no way that you are going to be like, oh, like I'm definitely drafting Justin Fields over fucking Patrick Mahomes or,
I would take him over Mahomes. I would take Justin Fields over Mahomes this year because of the rushing upside.
Anyways,
you're telling me that the rushing upside for Justin Fields doesn't give him a path to more points?
Anyways, let me finish. Damn. Okay, so I do want to make sure that I do defend you guys at home. With that being said, and with that being stated, am I buying the hype? Staying on topic, yes, I am buying the hype. Absolutely should have already bought into the hype. In terms of, are you going out there and starting him? You need to be careful with that because the data does show that one, he does have a cliff. He does have a mid-season fall off. It happens. It's a thing. We don't know why it happens. It happens with some quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks, they just have that. They have a ceiling.
The counter narrative here is
hold on. He also does have an injury bug issue. That is evident. There's data. There's no way around that. The Jets traditionally over the last couple of years are not able to keep a quarterback on field. The data is there. The facts are there.
Okay.
We know the truth.
But let's know.
So, do I still proceed with caution? Yes. We have to remember, okay? During my day job, work as a financial advisor, you just because something looks great right away, you don't have to be bullish right away. Don't get me wrong. Last year when Justin Fields was coming out, I was sure enough sitting back like, damn, I sure wish I could have that and And then once that situation had kind of soiled and he had kind of started hitting that decline, I was, yep, I'm good and I'm glad that I'm off of it. Any and every time that he's ever hit that decline, I've been good that I've been glad and I'm off of it. So that is something that I do worry about. He's only had one top 10 finish ever, and he's only played more than 14 games once.
Can I come back with my comeback now? I don't want to cut you off.
I would rather use him as trade bait and sell him and take someone else's value and weaken their team and then let them now hold and deal with that. Sure. Go ahead.
Now, when we're looking at Justin Fields last year, he was traded from Chicago to Pittsburgh. So that was a brand new system, a brand new opportunity out of a Chicago. Right. Again, but he was traded out of Chicago where it had gotten toxic, and that final year they did not get the best out of him. He did have a regression. The coaching there was not the best, but he did have pedigree and talent. So he was then sent over to the Steelers. And while he was with the Steelers, he had a 65.8 completion percentage with this team last season. Last season, he was rushing the ball for over 4.7 yards per carry. And in his final start that he had for the team, he rushed for 2 touchdowns. He did not lose this job because of his play. He lost this job because Russell Wilson was going to be given a shot. Okay, was that the right decision by the end of the season when we looked at it and Russ fizzled out in the playoffs? I think we can all agree that we probably should have let him.
And then when they put him back out there,
oh, let me finish.
And
then
he didn't look great either.
Now let me make my point, because again, for the viewer, I can't, in good conscience, if I feel like this, to sit on it would be disrespectful to my viewer, because in my reality, I see this as a guy that's increased his completion percentage, that is now in a brand new system with the Jets, with a brand new first-time head coach who's coming out of this Detroit system that is a little bit more risk-taking, that is a little bit more gambling, that does and will probably use Justin Fields. If they're using him the way they used him in this last game plan, he is well on his path to being not only a top 10, but a top 5 quarterback because of the rushing upside.
What did he do when they put him back out there? Week 11.
You're talking about a 1-game instance when he had come out of starting and then coming off. Okay, he may have had one bad game.
Week 13.
Dude, he started what was the last game he started after 10-13?
So from weeks 11 on, he never finished above QB 25.
But he was not starting because Russell Wilson came in. So you cannot make that assumption. He did not lose his job because of play. He lost his job because Russell Wilson came back.
In the weeks that he was starting, QB 19, QB 24, QB 12. He had 1 week as QB 1, QB 16, QB 7.
So what does that average out? He has 3 starts where he's either 1, 7, or what? He had a 1, a 7, and a.
He had a 1 and a 7. Those were the only times that he was top 10.
Out of how many starts did he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Out of 7. Out of 6.
Out of 6. So on 33% of his starts, he was either 7 or greater. And this was last season, as he increased his completion percentage to the highest level it's been, and as he still has his rushing upside. Now, you bring him to a team that's going to be rush heavy and rush dominant, and that doesn't have a back that they truly believe in, although Breezy is starting to extend himself. I believe this is a recipe for him to finish as a QB1 because of the safe rushing upside. Does he have an opportunity to bust? Absolutely. Does he have an injury risk? All rushing quarterbacks have an injury risk. But has he shown an increase in his completion percentage? Yes. Has he shown the ability to run and make touchdowns? Yes. So when you look at this, you have, in my opinion, the way this system is run, I think I would reasonably put 25% of my waiver wire budget if I didn't have a quarterback, meaning I don't have one of the top 5 guys. Meaning, if I waited,
I'm going higher than if I have a budget of $200 on the season, I'm going no higher than $16 on Justin Fields.
I would do 25% of my budget if I don't have a quarterback. If I don't have a quarterback,
it's week 1. How the fuck do you not have a quarterback?
Because some people waited to the end of their draft, and maybe you drafted like Caleb Williams and like fucking Trevor Lawrence, or maybe you drafted Jordan Love. And you drafted, I don't know, fucking JJ McCarthy. I would take Fields over JJ McCarthy.
Jordan Love, who you have being who you said is going to be MVP this year?
I would keep both, but I'm saying I didn't say over Love. I said I would take Fields over JJ McCarthy, and I would have both on my team. I do love Love.
Let's move into JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Are you buying the hype on JJ McCarthy?
Not yet. I've caused a pause.
I am buying the hype on JJ McCarthy. Everywhere this kid has ever touched fucking earth, he has won. Chat was saying it last night. They're like, my gosh, like this kid just cannot fucking lose. Everywhere he goes, figures out a way to win. Last night, in that fourth quarter, week 1 is preseason for pretty much damn near everyone. Seeing him live and in person and having to commentate in person, seeing him kind of transform and adjust and then make those adjustments live, that can't be taught. That can't be coached. When he went into the huddle, looked up at Aaron Jones and said, boys, this is the middle of the fucking third quarter. They're down at this point. Shit's bad. And he's like, is there any place you'd rather be? And then everyone was like, what? And then a switch hit. And he had the ability to lead those men. And actually, and I had even said it during the broadcast, someone needs to create a spark. Someone needs to create some emotion. Someone needs to bring some moxie. And the whole time, he's going through, even after the incompletion or the interception, he's going around, dapping his guys up. Seeing that fourth quarter and also the way he carried himself through adversity through those other 3 lets me know that I'm not going out there, I'm not starting him, but this is one of those people and one of those quarterbacks and one of those players that I said you grab, and I would kind of almost do the same thing with a Fields, except with Fields, there's those other things that I mentioned because Fields we have NFL data on. But with McCarthy, I'm doing kind of that same thing. You could come to my team as my bench QB, and I'll hold you until I gain that confidence to now go ahead and throw you out there. There are about 3 rosters that I have JJ where he outscored my QB1, who was a top 5 quarterback the previous year. He outscored Burrow. He outscored Hurts, I believe. The man went fucking off. He outscored Jaden, I believe. The man went off. And I get that is one quarter, but if we get to a point in a Kevin O'Connell system where he is able to do that on a consistent basis, that team becomes dangerous. Those fantasy players become dangerous. And I'm going to keep it real, and I've said it once, and I'll say it again. They're even more dangerous when Jordan Addison comes back in week 3. And if all lines up with how I'm feeling about that situation, we could be by week 3 episode, or heading into week 4 episode, I could be saying, plug the kid into fantasies, into your starting slot. Something clicked for him, and he's during that third quarter, and he began to understand the NFL. And I saw it with Jaden. I saw it with CJ Stroud. I've seen this before. I'm bought. I'm sold. I'm sold. He can hold a bench spot. I'm fine. I would take Justin over shits like Bryce, Tua, Penix, Caleb. Absolutely. Those are the ones that I would that's where that grouping is. Winning fourth quarter game, winning comeback drive on the road against a division rival as a rookie, or as your first NFL appearance. That shit was wild. That honestly, that was wild. Let's see here. JJ ended as QB 16. So he outscored Jordan Love, who I had last year. let's see here. I know he outscored Burrow because I fucking had Burrow. It really depends on your league settings, I should say, depending on your fucking league settings, because this league rewards a lot of different things.
The way I look at JJ is he has solid potential. I think the coach over there in Minnesota is top tier, so I don't think he's someone that you could write off. I think what Robbie's saying about him maybe turning the corner gives you a reason to look at him. I think he's interesting, but and you may call me crazy. I know you're gonna call me crazy. I think the next guy on your list might be a little bit more interesting to me.
Daniel Jones. So wait, first, are you buying or are you buying or selling?
I said I have cause to pause, but I would stash. I have cause to pause, but I would stash. I do see the upside potential of what you're saying. He has a rushing dynamic. But if I'm looking on the wire, I think the next guy has a little more juice for me. Because we've seen a little bit more of him. And I think when you talk about, again, that coach, I think there might be an opportunity. Mike had mentioned it the other day. I think he had like no quarterback and basically got to the playoffs the last couple of years. Like, he's always figured it out. And
so
he spent and one last thing I just want to end with is last season when Jones got cut, he went to Minnesota for a little bit.
You gotta let me set it up. You gotta let me set it up because you're speaking without context for the chat. They don't know where you're going. You just started going.
Oh, well, I was saying with Jones, but
yeah, you can go I know. Yeah, you just started going.
I think I started going. Did you?
Oh my god!
Are you going nuts now? Is that me or you?
No, that was me. I don't know what the fuck. So
because I was going and then you stopped.
Third guy, the third quarterback, Daniel Jones, 10% rostered. He was not started last week. He was started in 1%.
I started in best ball.
That is not.
That's a good joke. Come on, that's a good joke.
Thoughts on Daniel Jones? Sometimes a change of scenery, just we saw it with Sam Darnold. We've seen it with Baker Mayfield.
How about this? He does have a year where he finished as a QB1. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of years. He has 1 year though. There was that one time, and the thing about Daniel Jones that
games preference. What you mean by QB1?
Like top 12 QB, like he was a QB1.
Okay,
he ranked out as a QB, not the QB1, but as a
that's
QB.
Why I'm like, can you?
Yeah, yes, okay, fair enough. With that said, it was based on his rushing upside. That, like, as much as we want to downplay Vanilla Vic, he has some legs on him, and he may trip himself up from time to time, and the ghost of the stadium might catch him, but my dude got some legs. And I saw a lot of impressive throws where he was like throwing downfield to receivers, and some of them had to make a little bit of a catch on it, but the receivers had a chance to make a play. And they did. He threw for 272 yards and a touchdown. He had 29 pass attempts, and then he still had 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, imagine if they kind of use him a little bit like Anthony Richardson at the goal line, but he could actually throw the ball instead of Richardson. I think, 1, they already said they're giving him a long leash. 2, he's probably going to cost you dirt cheap because, let's face it, Daniel Jones has a history of being a dud. But with this offense, with that line, with his running back, with some of the receivers that they have, this is a talented team. This is a team that we always say, like, man, if they could ever get a quarterback. And last season, like I was trying to say before, at the end of the season, when the Giants cut him, he ended up going to Minnesota, where the head coach of Minnesota, who is what we call the QB whisperer, who worked with Sam Darnold, who now has J.J. McCarthy, also worked with Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones going to be in that system. And, maybe this is some of the rewards that he's getting from being able to get away from the Giants, go with a decent coach, get back on track. And I saw Peyton Manning on the sidelines too of that Colts game. And we know that he was close with Eli. So there's easily a relationship that he could probably have with Peyton Manning. And listen, I'm not spending the same fab that I spent on Justin Fields on Daniel Jones. But I'm definitely interested in him. I'm not saying I would start him. In a 2 QB league, I would start him. In a 1 QB league, I would not. But I would add him if I could. I would take him over guys like Trevor Lawrence.
So really quick, how much fat for DJ Giddens? I'm assuming this is in Dynasty. You probably shouldn't have to spend like a whole lot, like maybe.
I mean, I assume that's in redraft too. If you don't have a tight end, why wouldn't you?
Well, DJ
Blue Jays. Bring up if you're in Dynasty.
Stop. There's a question on the screen. For DJ Giddens, who had 41 yards, total this past Sunday, backup Colts running back for JT. I would probably be looking, like I said, a couple of bucks. You shouldn't have to spend too high. I would imagine with him being RB45 out of week 1, not too many people are going to run and try and spend on him.
I wouldn't spend anything. I would zero bid him.
If you could, how much you guys would, or how much you guys would you pay for Fannin? I don't have a tight end. Goddard, Ferguson, Juwan are available. Fannin is interesting out of the tight ends because when we talk about the tight end grouping, you got Brenton Strange, who's 22% rostered, who I feel like is probably going to be a little bit more consistent. Now with Fannin, and we're going to have this conversation a little bit later, what you are getting is that's the Cleveland fucking Browns. The Cleveland Browns are going to be playing from behind most of the time, which means that they are going to be passing the ball. Okay. Yes, I know that they're going to be getting their running back and Quishon Judkins back following, legal troubles and how that situation is going to work out and everything. So it's like, well, okay, no, maybe they do have some running identity. The Cleveland Browns are going to be playing from behind. They're going to be passing if they want to convince us that they're going to try and win football games. So I would, exactly. Fannin, they're moving around everywhere. I think that he is going to be utilized as like a joker, like a type of chess piece on the board. Fannin is definitely the second tight end off the waiver wire that I'm going to get. If I am not able to get Brenton Strange, I am grabbing Fannin Jr. I was high on Fannin Jr. coming into this season. Shout out to the homie Jamie Perrog. He was high on Fannin. My homie Laquan at NFL Network, he was like, bro, like check out this kid's tape. Chat, you guys know during the combine process, when I was covering the combine, I was impressed with the kid. He's been on the radar. I think the Browns got something in the kid. And then obviously you would kind of just work it. Goddard, Juwan, and Ferg would probably be my last option out of those.
I mean, Goddard to me is the easy play. I think he's solid. He's safe. Fannin, I mean, there's a lot of questions. Like, there's just a lot of questions. And tight end is one of those positions that, you gotta be careful because, like, he did play 55 snaps. He did have 7 catches, 9 targets, 4th most snaps of any player. He played 41% of his snaps in the slot. He lined up 29 times in target and took 3 snaps out of the backfield. All right.
Had 20.8 fantasy points, ended as tight end 6.
I mean, I see him as 13 in single point PPR with 7 catches for 63 yards. And 1 rush for 3 yards.
I'm looking at a tight end premium league. My fault. I'm looking at a tight end premium, but yes, 13.6 is normal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is more than I could have expected. this usage is really actually eye-opening. There's somebody else in this team that I'll be talking about later about their usage on one of the next segments. But yeah, no, I would actually move him up. Oh man, this guy is like the reverse Colston.
No, like probably even better. Like, and so we all know that like I'm a big fan of like players and like character as well. Great man of character, amazing man of character. His parents really raised him right. When Jamie was at the Fantasy Football Expo, I got to he called in and I got to say what's up to fans' parents and got to talk to him on FaceTime. I'm bought in. I'm bought in. I'm in. I'm in it. Like, so yeah, if you can grab, if you cannot get Strange, go Fannin. Want to talk about some other overreactions here because we still got to go through the waiver wire. Anyone not named Devon Chan is tradable in Miami already through week 1. Overreaction or not. I'm not starting Tua. I don't have any shares of Tua anymore because the shares that I did have sold. Gone.
Yeah, I definitely would without a doubt be out on almost everyone. I hope they trade Tyreek for the love of everything that we love. When we saw Jalen Waddle go down and roll on his shoulder, I was just like, this is why I never want to take Jalen Waddle. Like, I feel like every game that you play that happens.
Really quick, in a dynasty league, do you know what Tua ended up becoming? Fannin and Bill. I got a third and a fourth. Guess who I got a third? Bill. Guess who I got in the fourth? Fannin. So yeah, trade Tua. I mean, well, in redraft Tua has no value. So you don't need to put 41 on him in week 1. put like no more than 20 and you're good. So yeah, I'm out on the quarterback situation in Miami. Tyreek, we're hearing rumors about maybe reuniting with Kansas City. Tyreek also now has another legal case amid a divorce, so I don't know if KC acquires him with that drama going on, or if any team for that matter, unless it's the Browns, acquire him for that matter. So, like, what happens with Tyreek? I don't know. Tyreek is the root to a lot of the interior locker room problems with that team. And I said it during the short today. I'm sorry, but we can make fun of the fucking Giants all that we want for not scoring a touchdown. They weren't the freaking worst team in the National Football League. They at least look like that they can seem to like kind of get along and like figure things out. Miami does not look like they are going to figure this thing out anytime soon. You cannot score touchdowns if you cannot get along. Jalen Waddle looks like he's in mid-season form from fucking 2024. Do you guys as fantasy managers really want to deal with that again? Highly doubt it. So the answer to the question is everyone with Miami that's not named Devon Chan tradable at this point or borderline droppable? Yes. Waddle, I would argue we're week 1 through football, and I would argue is close to droppable. And Tyreek Hill, you can trade him for the fact that he's fucking Tyreek Hill, but I don't know, even from a fantasy standpoint, what manager wants to deal with that headache. So it's almost as a better fantasy football tactic to let the Tyreek Hill manager just sit there and deal with weeks of mediocrity. Do you realize that it's been exactly a year from this past Sunday, that Tyreek Hill has not caught a pass over 30 yards? And your Instagram handle's the cheetah. The only thing that you're cheating on is your fucking wives and baby mamas. And your occasional NFL drug test. I'm out on Tyreek. I'm out on everything that's Miami. Sell the farm. Anything that you want to add?
I mean, I regret drafting Tyreek even in the low spot that I did.
Tomorrow, more players will get injured. Don't overbid. Good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Tyreek's only shot at relevancy this year might be a trade. He had to argue on the bench for the ball. So, I mean, the fact that they're not even trying to get him the ball though is a bit fucking stupid. He's your best fucking player. There should be design plays every game, like every couple of plays. It's like, all right, end around to Reek, like a fucking quick toss where he can bubble screen it. There needs to be design plays for him.
The offensive line can't even block.
Yeah, it was saying a bubble screen, even like what I mean. Like let's do a pass, a play action to a bubble screen and let him go. Draw him in with the run and see what happens.
Yeah. Chase Brown's value in half point PPR. You want to see what you could try and get for him, or what you should be looking for in return. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me take a look here really quick. Chase Brown was all right. 12.1 points in half point PPR. Let me take a look at some things. You want to be trying to accomplish getting around where you know someone's going to be better than throughout the course of the season. And honestly, with Chase Brown, I would want to be giving another week to kind of build value. Because right now, because of recency bias, week one, people are going to be like, people are either A, not going to be trading, or B, they're going to be trying to charge way too much. Like what you should be looking for is like a Hubbard, hell, like even you're not going to be able to pry away a Breeze. You got to wait until Allen starts getting worked more involved. You might be able to see if you could go chase for Bucky, maybe Hampton, but I would wait for Hampton's value to like start building up and what Hampton could do. I would say it's too early to be trying to judge that one right now. I'd be waiting for the landscape to kind of really fill out a little bit more. Yeah, Mike McDaniel's going to get fired soon. Bill was one of the biggest steals of the NFL draft as a 7th round pick and might be the steal of your fantasy football draft. Overreaction or not? Ended as RB12 this week. PPR.
I think that's really tough because I do think that the Austin Eckler role is pretty viable, and I do think that Jaden Daniels is a vulture in himself. I think that him being running back 12 was pretty solid. I do think he has solid upside. I think at a round 7 price, you probably did get a pretty good steal seemingly from his workload.
Oh no, he in fantasy he was later. In fantasy he was way
later.
Probably
like 7 to 9 in fantasy, I would say. In the lab, I'll just for shits and giggles. Just want to see something. I would say he went because he did climb at the end of the season with everyone thinking that
He did.
he
Yeah,
did go in
he did start to
the
climb.
7th round in my 1 QB redraft. He went like pick 75. That was, I would say, the final Sunday before the season. I would say roughly that's where his ADP was going. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. I would say between 7 and 9 was probably his draft spot in most leagues that were drafting. I would say the final week of the season, because most people were anticipating after they had traded Brian Robinson that he did have that direct shot at the role. To me, I think my biggest concern is just what's going to happen with the breakdown going forward. I do think that Eckler will have a consistent role, and he will have a pass catching role. So that's going to make Bill very touchdown dependent, which in some games could be very tough, especially when you have a running quarterback like Jaden Daniels. So I do think that it will be interesting. I think there shouldn't be a league that he's on the waiver wire. Obviously, if you can trade for him, I would. Would I consider trading him? I think he's more of a hold. You don't really know where you're going to end up with this. I do think he has a solid shot to be a solid ROI.
If I have, I'm holding.
Yeah.
If I have, I'm holding. And because of the volatility at running back as the season develops, I think that the price tag has to be fucking right. Like if he can be what he's already what he was starting to prove through the preseason, then now it started what he did in week 1. And if that can carry on, if I can get top 24 production, top 16 production out of him, price becomes a little fucking steep. It has to be one of those trades where it's like, oh yeah, I win this one. Or, oh shit, I'm in a serious position of need and I'm weak at this position. Okay, I need to now unload this luxury that I have. I need to utilize him as a luxury piece. Hopefully you're deep at running back to where you're playing him as a flex, or right now you have him on your bench. Let's get into the injury report, and then we're going to get into waiver wire ads. So Drake London might miss some time, might not, should be good. He had a shoulder AC joint sprain. Should be fine, should be good to go. We'll wait to see how that develops throughout the week. Brock Bowers, MCL sprain. He said that he should be fine. He said that he's going to be good to go. George Kittle, hamstring, out on IR. So that is up to 4 weeks. It could be till week 4, week 5. Week 5 is the realistic timetable before we see George Kittle again. Evan Ingram, calf strain. I expect to miss some time. I expect that could be a game or two. Xavier Worthy. This one is interesting. Shoulder dislocation. It can be 3 weeks or more if they choose to let it heal properly. There is talk that he might play in a brace. Now, the type of brace that he would be playing in, every pass is going to have to be here, like there's going to have to be like body catch type passes, because the type of brace that they're going to have to put him in so that he can be able to be playable, it makes it very hard to go all the way up. Like, one arm will be able to go up, but this arm is going to be limited to about range to here. And you're already having pads on as well, which limits your range. So, quite interesting. Stay posted, Xavier Worthy managers. That one could be interesting. And if he's playing in a brace, I don't know if I'm playing him, because at that point I feel like that the Chiefs could just be utilizing him as a decoy. Thoughts on some of the injuries? Any of those impacting you?
I mean, I think that the injury that you have with Xavier Worthy, while it doesn't impact me, I do think it's probably one of the hardest because a lot of people were counting on this early part of the season for Worthy, with no Rice to make your bag, right? This is why you got him. You're like, he's gonna eat early. I'll build up a little lead, and then when Rice comes back, the usage will go down, but he'll still be okay because I'm gonna get those early wins. I'm gonna ride out with him. Now you're sitting back and you're just like, face palm central because not only did you start a 0, but he's going to have a couple of limitations those first couple of weeks. Then he has to get back acclimated. And then by the time that happens, boom, you're looking at Rice. And what does that mean for his value? No, I'm not sold.
Valid. Yeah, that Chiefs wide receiver situation is quite interesting. Why they haven't just called up Kendrick Bourne, I don't know. Waiver wire ads. Mac Jones versus Rattler could be a thing. God damn. Starting off, so Quinshon Judkins, 52% raw availability right now. Okay. My opponent that played me in one of my money leagues made the dumbass mistake. I guess he doesn't have his Shefty noties turned on or something. And he dropped Quinshon Judkins today. I can't remember who he dropped him in favor for. But I am putting in a waiver claim to try and grab Judkins. I'm dropping Najee for Judkins. He picked up Emanor, whatever the fuck, from Tennessee, and drop Judkins. So I'm gonna pick up Judkins. I'm gonna stash him. I'm gonna drop Najee because I don't care about having him as a handcuff if Hampton goes down because I'm loaded as fuck at running back in this league. And I would just probably then throw in Judkins. But thoughts. I mean, the Browns get him back after some legal troubles. The kid's absolute fucking hoss. And you also combine that with that backfield of Dylan Sampson, who's going to be the pass catching back. It looks like this was supposed to be that Browns duo. So buy Jerome Ford. Thoughts?
Samson, baby, Samson. I had him in my 14-team league. I was excited for him. Hearing Judkins come back had me a little bit of a cause for pause. But as I watched that game and I saw the usage, the way they were using him as like a wide receiver almost, stretching him out, giving him catches. I think he had like 6 catches. Hold on, let me pull it up. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the right information. I pride myself on that. So my guy, Dylan Sampson, had a total of 8 catches for 64 yards on 8 fucking targets. That is sexy. Oh, that's sexy. Give me that. And then here's my thing, right? So Judkins, great player, 2nd round pick. People are hyped on him. Wasn't a camp. How much of his playbook does he know? How does that work on passing downs? Oh, wait, it's not. We're looking at pretty much Sampson being the passing down back. This guy's not going to be able to be out there on pass pro, at least for a few weeks. He's not going to be used in the passing game where he has to learn the route to know where to be. I think that's where you're looking at Sampson as that ability to, especially in PPR. That is the guy.
Like I said, between the tackles, it's gonna be Judkins. This was gonna be a 1-2 punch heading into the season. Either way between these two, I am perfectly fine having either or on my roster. There are some leagues where I already have Sampson, so I'm comfortable. I'm good. I don't care. There are some that I do have Judkins, or that I'm gonna acquire Judkins, like I already previously mentioned. This is a backfield that I am interested in, believe it or not. Although, like I said, for the most part, this team is going to be passing. So how often I start these guys is yet to be known. Let's keep in mind that Cincinnati did barely come away with that game. If we can maybe get something like that out of Cleveland, if Cleveland can find a way to actually somehow win football games, then maybe it does make it to where the running game becomes more serviceable than expected. Or maybe it does kind of reach the point to where we see either this two-headed monster or either Judkins or Samson, one of the two more so take over, and we get kind of a Nick Chubb-esque type of experience out of that backfield. Trey Benson for the Arizona Cardinals. This one is interesting. This one I love because this is another, just like Bill, just like Fannin, this is another, like, we told you so. James Conner is going to be getting a little bit older. And of course, that is a piece that if Arizona is able to put on a run, that they're going to need, especially down the stretch. Although he is all reliable in fantasy football, 75 yards and 1 for 1, 75 on the ground and 1 for 1 through the air for 10.5 fantasy points for Trey Benson. I've been liking that. This is a guy that a lot of fantasy managers were fairly premature on last year. And it looks like that they're going to trust him a little bit more. He carried the ball 8 times on Sunday. That's, if we could get that into 10 to 12 for Benson, I'm with the shits, and I could honestly see that, especially with Connor getting a little bit older. And if you have Connor, I want that as a handcuff too.
In a lot of leagues, he was one of the guys in that 7, 8, 9 range that I was going to grab. Once you got past Bill as probably that last guy that you thought as a starter, guys like this opened up to me as top tier handcuff slash potential workload changeover. James Conner in the beginning of this off season, or was during, mentioned that he saw it as a 1A, 1B this season. He specifically said that, James Conner. He specifically said Trey Benson is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. Trey Benson is a dynamic rusher that his own teammates have recognized. Your own running back teammate who is a professional that knows that that's my job is bigging you up. I think that speaks to the character and to the potential that this kid has. Because let's be real, most grown men, you're gonna give the kid their proper respect when that's your job that you're talking about. It's not like you're this is my livelihood, this is my money. When kids got it, you give it to them. When kids don't got it, you fucking, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna bring that up because let's face it, you ain't got it, kid. You ain't taking my job. But when you nice like that, you much rather nurture and take this kid up because let's face it, kid, I already see the potential you got. You gonna take my shit. But if we cool and shit, GM might say, yo, y'all work good together. I'm gonna let y'all rock. Because I know I'm on 30 and I'm on the wrong side of this shit for running backs. And my downfall can happen really fast. And I think the way he bigged him up, the way that went, for me, it made me lean in on Benson. Right now, if he's still available, I'm snatching him up. I think he has the potential by the end of the season to have maybe a 60-40 potential on the workload. I think that we look at James Conner every year as an injury potential, whether it be he misses a couple of games or he's playing compromised, which is another thing that a lot of guys do. They might have a shoulder injury, but they gut it out because they're NFL players and grown-ass men, but they might start averaging 3.6 yards per carry because they're not feeling right and they're only doing their best. And I think that's where you're having a guy like Trey Benson leaves you open to that opportunity that we know that's going to happen with James Conner. It's either going to be compromised or it's going to be injured, but something I think will happen with him. Not saying that I'm wishing or forecasting injuries, but it just seems like with him, that is the proper way to take it. Better safe than sorry. He may play the full year, but for the most part, we like to be safe.
Marcus Spain, what's good? Let's see here. Is this a start question or is this a trade question? Because I see, should I start Debo, Tet, or Diggs? And then I see for London. Do you mean or London? If it's start, okay, start because okay, in place of London. Now I get it. I'm probably going to, although Diggs has that soft matchup against Miami, the New England offense hasn't figured shit out yet. And it's really at a detriment to that offensive inability to give May some time. And it's looking like that Keyshawn Boutte is probably still the more, inclined one to take over the target share there, just because he's been there with May through last year. Tet, I still want to see Carolina figure some things out. Carolina looked a little bit rough, more rough than what I thought they were going to. Although after the rain delay, it seemed like they kind of got things together, but I think that's more so just rain delay. So I probably would go Debo, despite playing on a Thursday night. Washington is going to find ways to get him the ball. It is a more prolific offense. I get that that it's a short week, but I'm going to roll with the person that's going to have more chances to make plays. He has the ability through the air. They are going to utilize him on jet sweeps. Terry's able to create opportunities for him. Jaden's going to be looking for him. The other two situations just aren't great right now. Aren't materializing yet, unfortunately. And that sucks that London is hurt. Speaking
that
of,
shit fucking killed me.
Yeah, speaking of Keyshawn Boutte, how do you feel? I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they want to go out there and they would spend a couple of fat bucks to go and get Keyshawn at this point. It just looks like that's where the connection is, and that's who's going to be the guy.
Can I say I have cause to pause? My co-manager is really pushing very hard in a 14-team league. And
I would do it. In deep leagues, I'm doing it.
What?
In deep leagues, I'm doing it.
See, to me, my worry is okay. So yes, I get it. Last season, towards the end of the season, he started developing a rapport with Drake May, but that obviously wasn't there because he played 15 games and he had 45 catches total for the year. Okay, in the last 3 games, which we're going to now hyper fixate on because the last 3 games means everything when we talk about fantasy football. In his last 3 games, he had 6 for 103, 7 for 117 and a touchdown, and 5 for 95 in 3 of his last 4 games. OC Josh McDaniels has a very heavy pass favoring with the way that he runs his team. I understand all of that, but you're also talking about a team that drafted a couple of rookie wide receivers. You're talking about a team that signed Stephon Diggs. You're talking about a team that added Travion Henderson. You're talking about a team that still has Pop Douglas, who also has been showing himself as a consistent and steady hand. I just don't know if you're talking about Fab and some of these other things, how much I would go in on this guy when this situation is not as cut and dry as you're making it, or people are making it seem.
I'm with the homie Jake Seeley on this one. In a 14, 16 teamer in a deep league, I'm doing it. 12, 10-man league, I'm not doing it because there's just so much other options, and then other options that are currently better that I'm not going to drop to acquire.
See, like for me, like in my 14 team league right now, I have BTJ, Sutton, Ricky Pearsall, and Roma Dunze as my wide receivers and flexes, and then I have Samson on my bench. I don't see the point, and I have a top 4 waiver. I don't see the point in cooking my waiver right now for him.
I don't need to.
That's my point.
That's another thing. If you like if you're out there watching, if you don't need to burn a waiver, don't do it. Don't do it. this is fantasy football. This isn't the slot machine. You don't have to get all like the numbers and the bright lights, and you don't have to click something just because you want to.
Because in 5-6 weeks, there might be a dude that's like taking over a running back spot, and you're like, oh my god, I got 3 down back, which we know in fantasy football happens. That is the name of the game. That is the name of the game.
Quentin Johnson, QJ, he is 8% right now.
You know who he is? He is the Sammy Watkins Award winner this year.
He popped off in week 1, and he's about to go back to the QJ we know.
Yeah, pretty much. People
turns back into a pumpkin.
Yeah, you go next week. You're gonna be like, damn, who the fuck is this Lad McConkey guy? Why is he leading the team in targets and reception?
Keenan Allen's a thing. Like, yeah, I could see that.
Omari and Hampton can catch passes. When did this start happening?
I'd be willing to if I have the availability, I would be willing to maybe play the QJ experiment.
And you know what else I like? I like how people are like, and now the San Diego Chargers are a pass first team. And QJ has the upside to be a number 1. I'm like, bitch, it's one game. Can we breathe a little bit? Can we see what happens? Can we give it 5 games before we say they're a pass heavy team now? The first game script when you're playing maybe the Chiefs, who have a couple of really good people on that defensive line who seemingly bottled up Hampton every time he tried to run. Maybe that's why they kind of went away from the run. But I don't know. This could be a game script thing where maybe they defended Lad McConkey in the run really good and said, can body catching McGee beat us? Oh, shit, he did. You know what I mean? Like,
I traded Kyren Williams and Golden for Tay. Aaron Jones and Jacoby Myers. What do you think full PPR?
I mean, from a volume perspective, I like it. You got more players who are better.
Here's what I don't like about like,
I don't love it.
Kyren, the Kyren part, I'm not sure if I'm getting rid of Kyren this early. Yeah. Let me get my burn out of Kyren.
You know what the problem with Kyren is we don't like him, but he puts up numbers.
People don't like Kyren, and he still
because he was a low round pick. He's not the most dynamic. The man scores touchdowns and he gets catches.
Exactly. Like, I actually like Kyren Williams.
Yep.
So yeah, that part I don't like. Getting rid of Matthew Golden, I'm okay with, just because the whole Pittsburgh offense as a whole, what we saw in week 1, that's gonna happen all season long. You may get like a game or two where it's like, it's a Jaden Reed game. Now he's wide receiver 1. Oh, it's a Matthew Golden game. Now he's wide receiver 1. Oh, shit. I forgot they have fucking Romeo Doubs. Who's this? Dontavian Wicks. Those things are going to happen with the Green Bay Packers. So I'm okay with just utilizing Green Bay pass catchers, period, as trade pieces. Just like on principle, I'm okay with. Aaron Jones and Jacoby Myers. I like getting Jacoby. I like getting Jacoby. Aaron Jones, we saw kind of how we saw the first 3 quarters out of Aaron Jones. Aside from that lone deep TD, that's pretty much what we're getting for the most part. I think that Minnesota figured out last night Jordan Mason's the guy on the ground. And I think that Aaron Jones probably becomes like a pass catching type back. Yeah, just the only piece I don't like is unloading Kyren this early in the season. Let me get some he has a bone bruise or something before I'm unloading Kyren. Let me get all the work I can out of Kyren Williams. Those CD and QJ Freaky Friday edits are hella funny. I'm dead. I have Saquon and Jacobs as running backs and Jacoby Myers and Devontae Smith as flex. Should that be good for my flex? Jacoby Myers is perfect there at your flex, or either Devontae. Either or, you're good. I would probably play Devontae in my flex. I think that the Eagles are going to, especially after all the hoopla, about AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. They always do this thing where it's like the Eagles didn't pass to anybody, and then the very next week it's like bombs to the air. So, I would probably play Devontae. I lean a little bit more there. But Jacoby is just so consistent. He's good, old reliable. Josh Palmer.
What he did last year, I think what he did last year also shows that he is like an alpha on that team. I don't think someone's taking this job this year.
Josh Palmer, how do you feel about Josh Palmer? He's 20% available on the wire.
Josh Palmer. Let me pull up my handy dandy stat machine.
He looked good in that Ravens game, and that Bills offense is going to distribute the ball. Like obviously Shakir's the like security blanket.
There's no way I'm adding him. None. 9 targets for 5 catches for 61 yards. When you have Keon Coleman looking the way he did, you have Kincaid looking solid. You had a 40-point game. I think this is a recipe for odd man out coming up to be Josh Palmer once we get into less competitive games where they're probably more milking the clock and icing the game rather than having to keep up with the Ravens.
I'm adding Hollywood and even QJ before I add Josh Palmer and Boudier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That is a Sean Payton offense. That backfield is going to wake up. Yes. I love RJ Harvey. Ray McLeod. With Ray McLeod or with Drake London being out, like Ray McLeod becomes a little bit interesting, but I'll just kind of leave it on this note with Ray. If you have some of the other options that we talked about on the wire available, I would probably almost go with them instead over Ray. I feel like Ray is just like a weak like fill in, I don't know if I'm investing that, and then especially when Darnell Mooney gets introduced back into the fold as well, that convolutes things. That convolutes things. Ray McLeod, I think, is the one that I pass on. One more receiver that I do want to throw out there before we get into the ever so important tight ends for this week, because there was a lot of tight end injuries. Troy Franklin, he's 2% rostered. I just kind of want to throw this out there. I know that everyone's like, oh, well, Marvin Mims is supposed to be, the de facto wide receiver too. Let's not forget that Bo Nix and Troy Franklin do have some chemistry. We saw that a little bit. Think of this. You don't have to add them heading into week 2 right now, but I just want to make sure that we're the show that kind of throws it out there as things progress.
There is one other name that I'm not sure if you brought up that I do want to bring up, because again, this is the show that does it. Calvin Austin III. He's 3% rostered. I think that when we look at what he did in this last game, he had 4 of 6 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown in the win. He played 43 of his 53 snaps, and he clearly worked ahead of Roman Wilson and Ben Skrzykowski. I don't know what the passing volume is going to be in this offense, because they pass a lot more than I had expected. But Aaron Rodgers did not look terrible. Aaron Rodgers actually looked fairly confident, like I said he did towards the second half of last season, specifically near the end. Not only that, Aaron Rodgers is playing with a chip on his shoulder. For a guy that's rostered in 3% of leagues, he might be a guy that you can get away with not putting a waiver in and just snatching him up once everything is all done and walk away with a wide receiver 2 on a team that you didn't have to spend any kind of capital on. Absolutely. And that is my under 5% guy of the week.
Make sure that you guys give us a follow. Make sure that you also share the content. What should I do? I'm dropping Ollie Gordon, but I have to pick up who? Juwan Johnson or Tootin. If you do not need a tight end, maybe you don't go Johnson. Although they pretty much utilize Johnson as a wide receiver, as an emergency wide receiver. You have Tucker Kraft at tight end that you probably don't need to go and get Juwan Johnson. You could probably have the backup of Tootin, especially with Tank Bigsby being gone. That is going to definitely bolster up, Tootin. They're going to need a change of pace whenever ETN gets tired or should something happen. Tootin definitely has value now. Went from not having a whole lot of value, guy that you probably took a late round dart throw on. I luckily already had him on a roster, and I'm like, I'm going to hold on to you for one extra week. I'm not feeding you back to the wire yet. So I feel like it's just smart fantasy football to acquire Tootin before he pops off, or either if you already have him, hang on to him.
I agree with you here. Tootin to me is definitely the pick. He already had a big run in that game. I don't think you trade Tank Bigsby if Tootin doesn't look good, not ETN, because ETN, even if he was the number one, you still
Cohen already said that he was going to be going with ETN and they were going to trust ETN coming into the season. So that was there.
This was more a reflection on Tootin looking to the point where you can say, yeah, I can confidently slide this guy as my number 2 running back. And God forbid ETN goes down, I'm comfortable with him being the number 1. I think that's what they saw in this game, and that's why they made the trade.
Marcus Main, if Bill Crosby Merritt is available on your waivers, your league mates are drunk. Take advantage of that. Yes. 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 Go. That man ended as RB12 this week and is only going to get better. Do that. That's a steal. We just did a segment on that at the beginning of the show. Make sure you guys also give us a sub on YouTube. Shout out to the Twitch streaks. One thing I do want to bring up about the wide receivers before we get in, Taco. Cedric Tillman. The Cedric Tillman, this Jerry Jeudy situation in Cleveland. Tillman has proven by stats to have the more stable floor. He is floating around out there in leagues. Okay. I want to say right around like 60%. I'm gonna double check that really quick. I say it's worth about $18 in Fab to go and get him. What say ye? He was 5 for 8, 52 yards and a TD, 16.2 fantasy points this last week.
We are talking about Bill.
Ended as wide receiver 18 last year.
Wait.
Cedric Tillman.
Oh, Cedric Tillman, sorry. Tillman's he did most of his damage last year with
he's available in 34% of leagues.
He did most of his damage last year with Falco. I mean, not with Falco, with Winston. So that had me cause to pause, but he did have 5 for 52 with the TD, 8 targets. You know what my problem with him is? That he consistently delivers every time that I think he's not going to be good enough, or that he's going to lose his job, or that something's going to happen, or that the Cleveland Browns can't sustain him. I just, in my opinion, I don't want to be out on him. I want to take a shot on him and see what he does, because he seems to have a recipe or a reputation for delivering.
Yeah, I'm in on the Cedric Tillman hype as well. Kyle, the answer to your question is absolutely yes. Hell yes. Fuck yes. Yes. Right now, Hollywood is going to be hot on the streets. Hollywood's going to be out on the streets, and that Tennessee offense is dog shit at best. Like the dried up white dog shit on the concrete. Yeah, that's the Tennessee offense right now. Let's get into the tight ends. I've already been kind of throwing this one out there. I threw it out there in the TikTok short, and the Instagram reels. Brenton Strange, he's 22%. I said that coming into the season he was going to be a roster. Taco, you gonna get Strange for a little change? Pause.
I mean, if we're looking at a 2 wide receiver league, yes.
Tight end.
It's 2 tight end league. I would take him. I would take him because I do think from that position he would be a little bit more consistent than a lot of other guys. I think that we've seen Trevor Lawrence consistently be a check down Charlie, finding his tight ends, and I think that's a solid play. Although I would say Trevor, once again, makes me regret believing in him. He did not look great. I do not trust or love him. But
He didn't
based
look
on
great after the rain delay. Let's put that in context.
okay, fair. But I mean, when we look at the game, most of the game was after the rain delay. So
bullshit. Did you know the lightning strike that they called it on was 9 miles away from the stadium?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. There's still a lot to work out there in Jacksonville. For all we know, that could be a run happy team, which actually works out better for Strange. Because with play action and some of the other things, him being in there, a blocker, and then he leaks out, that actually might lead to him having some bigger plays. So all around, I do think, yeah, it's solid.
I get so like the way I look at Britton Strange is in the context of if I lost George Kittle, I need a tight end. Not sure how I feel about whoever's already on my bench. I'm moving George Kittle into my IR, making a decision on if I'm going to start whoever's on my bench. Let's say you probably have like Otten or Conklin, or maybe you already have Johnson sitting there. You know, I don't know. I get that Tongs looked decent when he got the opportunity to go out there and step up. He was 3 for 3, 15 yards and a TD, 13.5 fantasy points. So clearly, you know, this team, even with Kittle out, is still going to flow through the tight end and utilize the tight end. We've seen the 49ers, in the absence of Kittle, kind of throw whoever out there at tight end. You know, whether it's been O'Dwelly or whoever the fuck. So with that being said and stated, I kind of want to go with someone that might be a little bit more reliable. Let's say you got Goddard on your bench, you're not sure. You know what? Maybe at that point, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Strange. Zachary asked, how much fab would you throw on QJ and Boutte, Keyshawn Boutte? So QJ is weird because it's like, does he maintain this, and can he maintain this, and can he keep this going? And that's where the calls for Pauls is. Taco did bring up the last 5 games for Keyshawn, and that is impressive. It's been damn near 90 to 100 yards over the course of his last 5 games, and it doesn't seem like, given this past weekend, that's going anywhere. Drake might have a secret target. I almost want to go Boutte over Johnson.
I don't think that's a question because QJ has no potential to be a number one. Boutte does. So I don't think that's a question there. That is definitely Boutte over QJ. How much would you spend?
$5.
I wouldn't go more than 10% of my budget.
$5.
Yeah.
If I have a budget of 200, most leagues I play our fab, you have like 200 or like 150. That's See, look, we got you. We got you. Where's Aiden? I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, Mason Taylor definitely another tight end to watch. I don't have him here on this list. I have some other guys though that we are going to talk about. We are going to circle back to Harold Fannin Jr. 1% roster. But look, again, it goes into the fact that Cleveland's going to be playing from behind. The ball has to go somewhere, and they utilize him everywhere on the field. They're not just utilizing him as a tight end. So it's clear that there's design packages for him. It's clear that there's a vision for him. It doesn't seem like there's a vision for much of anyone else on this roster. At least he has a clear-cut, role of just like, we're just going to use you however the fuck we feel like. So anything you want to add? We pretty much we said a lot about Fan in this episode.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that his usage was very impressive. I think that that team has an established alpha. The questions always come down to you played the Bengals. So what does that look like against other teams? As we think the Bengals have probably one of the worst defenses in the game. So there's that. You know, he scored less than 20 versus the Bengals. So there's that. I don't
Start
know. Like I don't know.
start
And then
Brown against the
here's the
Eagles.
wild card. Let's just hypothetically say, you know, you spend everything on him, you get him, he looks halfway decent. Flacco goes down, or they change Flacco, and then his usage ain't the same because there's a new quarterback in town, and they have a different favor. Like this Browns team is a dice roll in the fucking game of craps.
Everything is a dice
You
roll.
don't know what the fuck you're gonna get. You know, and it
Um,
could go great early and then crap out at the end because again, there's potentially a shift to one of the younger quarterbacks as they get towards out of playoff contention and they start getting into like what do we have before we evaluate for the draft? Who do we put out there? And God knows you could have a scrub who's trash. So I would say be very, very cautious. I agree that he's worth it. I agree I would put money on him, but do not overspend thinking that you
no, yeah, you
found
don't
the
overspend on
superstar
Fanning. You don't
because
have to.
there's so many questions that we have in this situation and with this team and with who's throwing them the ball and chemistry and everything that goes along with football.
Start Hollywood Brown against the Eagles. The way that Eagles secondary looked in week one, I kind of heavily lean hell yeah. The Chiefs are not the Dallas Cowboys. The Chiefs offensive line is not the Dallas Cowboys offensive line.
Also, let's factor in you're down 2 wide receivers, and there's no Worthy and there is no Rice.
Exactly. The ball has to go somewhere.
Yeah. And
Um,
again, the Eagles defense didn't look as good enough to like scare you. And you figure they get him cheap catches. So I think he's a solid call in a lot of places. Probably someone that you might want to take on a couple of parlay bets if he's still, you know, depends on where Vegas is. They're pretty good at catching up.
Taco's a Giants fan. You use fourth waiver order to pick up Juwan, or I'm sorry, Juwan Johnson, Strange, Henry. Nice seeing that Hunter Henry's out there, or Fannin. I have Loveland, Superflex PPR. Let you know the rest of my team if it helps. Honestly, just knowing that it's Loveland and it doesn't seem like kind of anyone else, I do want you to go out and get one of these.
Yep.
I do lean Hunter Henry. If I were to rank them, it would be Henry, Strange, Fannin, Johnson.
I probably would go Fannin, Strange, Henry. Let me just see something about Henry before I go because with all this Boutte, I want to see what Henry has done. Hunter Henry in his last game, 4 catches, 66 yards on 8 targets. I would say you could probably put him second. I would put Fannin first just because of his usage. I think that to me is interesting because his upside is pretty high, even though we have to temper our expectations. All of these guys right now are probably slated as tight end twos, with Henry probably having the most pedigree, so he's probably ranked higher. But based on usage and talent and everything that we've discussed here, I would put Fannin first, particularly knowing that Loveland is your tight end. But I would also put Henry in there, and I probably would put Strange. I would have 3 of those tight ends in my waivers.
Obviously a bit early, but pick 3: Achan, JT, Brees, ETN. It's let me see something really quick. Brees versus Buffalo. That divisional matchup, though, that's tough.
Oh, ETN gets Cincinnati. HN. Chan. Where are we at?
Yeah, I do like ETN versus Cincinnati. I do want to automatically kind of plug that in, just given the matchup. Dolphins versus Patriots. Yeah, I'd probably go with Chan. And then JT against that Broncos defense.
That's the one. You have good options, and that's the one that I would bench.
Yeah, JT would be the one against that Broncos defense. I'm like, yeah, no, get the fuck.
And mind you, there's a good chance JT's going to score a touchdown. You have to know that. There's a good chance he's going to score a touchdown.
There's a good chance that all of them are going to score touchdowns.
But when you look at how many yards the Bills gave up last week to Derrick Henry, how good Breece Hall looked last week, and I would have more faith that he'd be able to deliver than JT would versus that Broncos D, and with Bo Nix not looking as good as he did last week. We're talking about picking between, the RB5 and the RB probably 10, because I would say they're probably all top 10 plays this week. You have really good running backs.
Man's running backs look like a fucking anytime TD parlay.
Yeah, like for real though. Like it is a stacked team.
Bro, this team looks like it's a freaking 8-teamer.
Saquon, this dude said 8. Bowers.
We fucked Will Campbell, by the way.
How do you get Jamar Chase and McCaffrey? That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Taylor for Denver is a tough decision. Who should I start this week, Mahomes or Kyler? I am starting Kyler against Carolina. Thank y'all for the Rex. Drop Bateman, Chubb, Dobbs, or DeMario to claim any of those tight ends we talked about earlier. Dobbs would probably be the odd man out, just because, like, out of that receiving core, he 9 times out of 10 on a consistency basis would be the odd man out.
So I agree with you there. And on the other one, I would take Mahomes. Mahomes at 27 in his last. Well, he had a 40-yard passing completion, but he had 258 passing yards and 57 rushing yards, including the rushing TD. Rolled out 6 times. He was running that ball.
Yeah, but it's Kyler Murray against the Carolina Panthers, dog.
Yeah, but this is Mahomes versus Philly revenge game. This is the game where I think he could throw for 300. I do think that Mahomes is that guy who's like, y'all fucked me last year and took my ring. I'm gonna make y'all bleed your own blood.
I'm going. Zach, go Kyler. He's like, you have to realize Mahomes is playing the Eagles. Hey, go Kyler. Go Kyler against Carolina. Like that, to me, that question answers itself. It's like for real. Like the matchup. Anytime I see anyone playing Carolina, I'm like, well, that's who I'm starting. I don't even give a fuck who it is. I'm just
But, and again, I'm usually the contrarian. Mahomes is on a revenge tour this year, and he's facing
Hollywood is going to get behind that secondary. Hollywood is going to cook that secondary.
Yes, and he will get Travis Kelce involved for something. This is his farewell tour, and Taylor Swift probably is asking him, "Can you please make this a love story?"
We have pretty much gone through, honestly, like the whole list, especially like with the chat's help. He's like, I don't care. I'll start Kyler this week. I'll be at this game too, by the way. Then start.
Yeah, if you're at the game, definitely. And if you're a Cardinals fan.
Yep. You're a Cardinals fan. You're gonna be at the game. And you know what? Not only just start them, throw a parlay ski together on top of that. Check it out. Before we head out of here. AMA tomorrow. Go and hit the bell. All right, go hit the bell so that way you're notified whenever I go live. All right. Other than that, Taco, final words.
Man, I'm excited for this season. So far, it's been a crapshoot. We've seen a lot of wild shit. But that's what we're excited for. That's what makes the season the season. Stay tuned for Friday. We come through and deliver with you with more stuff. Robbie keeps the slate filled. I'm trying to figure out what that looks like for me, but yeah, we're gonna keep y'all guys locked and low. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. I know the algo, sometimes you might get blessed by the algo. You're not seeing us right now, but I don't know what happened next time. So make sure you subscribe so this way you can catch us next time.
Yo, go through and like all the recent YouTube shorts. All right. And all of you that have already been liking the YouTube shorts, we appreciate y'all. CB, you have a good night. The whole chat, y'all have a good night. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. All the rum boys and girls, what it do. Yeah.